welcome everybody to episode 32, the Paranormal Pete Show here on WLTK-DB radio, video, everywhere on the internet, WLTK-DB.com. I'm your host, Pete Orbea, and here with episode 32. Took last week off and feels good to get back in the chair here and bring you guys another fun episode of the Paranormal Pete Show. And I hope everyone's enjoying the show and can take something away from each show. It's my goal to educate in some way and have some fun, even though sometimes we talk about some pretty deep subjects. So thanks for following the show. You can follow my show on Facebook, facebook.com. Just type in Paranormal Pete Show. You'll find my Facebook page there. Just be sure you like it or follow it, whichever suits your taste. And that way you can find out about who my upcoming guests are and what's coming up. So I've got a special guest, Mary Beckman, tonight. And I'm really looking forward to asking her a lot of interesting questions about her work. So I've got her coming on tonight. Next Tuesday, we've got Nkasha Amenti coming on, and longtime friend here in Port Gamble, and amazing psychic medium. She does really amazing work. So I'm super excited to have her on the show next week. And on September 7th, I've got Mr. Ron Moorhead coming on. I'm super excited for that. We're going to talk Bigfoot and all things Bigfoot and maybe even more. Hi, Linda Myers and McKenna and Mary. Thanks for watching, you guys. Thank you for being such great supporters of the show. And if you saw that comment pop up, join the conversation. Let me know where you're listening from or watching from, and say hi. Go ahead and comment. We're here on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Twitch, and also right on the station website. And there's a brand new chat function there, so you can easily join the conversation. So just go to WLTK-DB.com and you'll find it pops right up there, the current show that's on. And so you'll find me right there and all the other great shows that are on the station throughout the week. So I encourage you, please check out the other shows on the station. Got a lot of stuff coming up that I'm super excited about. And it's going to be a busy season. And by the way, Linda and Mary McKenna said that they're listening from the Wolf Creek Inn. And hi, Danny. Thanks for listening from Seabeck out here in Washington. Right on. Thanks for listening. So starting October 1st, it's the Port Gamble Ghost Walk season. So this is my 10th year, 10th season, or maybe 11th. I'm not really sure, but I've been doing it for a while. And I just love doing the Ghost Walk tours here in historic Port Gamble. And if you don't know where Port Gamble is, it's basically across the Puget Sound west of Seattle. And it's a little old sawmill town that has been maintained. It started in 1853. That was 1853, and it's been maintained, and all the buildings are old. The newest house in Port Gamble is 1919. So that gives you an idea of the age of the buildings and the town, and it's just so much fun. The tour lasts for 3 hours, and I lead the tour. We get to go through the historic museum, go through the post office building, which is the old community center. And then we, of course, check out the cemetery. Can't miss that on a ghost tour. So we hit the cemetery, and there's a lot of neat history that's up there. And then we kind of walk around the town, and I talk about the history and ghost stories of all the buildings and of the people. And then we get to spend about an hour in the Walker Ames mansion here. Kind of go through that, and we do a little bit of investigating as we go, or just seeing if anybody in the house, as far as our quote unquote long-term residents, will say hello. So it's so much fun. I love doing it. It's just a big passion for me. I love sharing the history of this cool little place. So anyways, if you go to portgambleparanormal.com, you can see the dates and get your tickets right there for Ghost Walks. They're coming up. They're $25 a piece. Again, it's a 3-hour tour. It takes every bit of that 3 hours to get through it. And I encourage everyone to bring flashlights and dress for the weather because we go rain or shine. So starting in October, they're every Friday and Saturday, including Halloween, except for October 15th and 16th. And that's because I'll be in Centralia at their brand new paranormal conference. And so I'm super stoked for this. It's their first year of doing a paranormal conference in Centralia. They've done ghost tours and hold a dark market there. And so they've added now a paranormal conference, and I'm super honored to get to speak at it. So, and there's my mom. Hey, mom. Thanks for listening. So yeah, really honored to be speaking at the first paranormal conference there, and I'm super excited to check out some of the places down there. And you can go to Centralia downtownfestivals.com/paranormal conference, and then it'll get you to the conference website so you can see the other speakers on there. And that's October 15th is the conference, and then the tours and stuff are on the 16th along with the dark market. So if you're down in southwestern Washington area or down maybe out of Portland, come up and check it out. So that's Centralia downtownfestivals.com. Um, Super excited about that. And then I do Thuria. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sorry if I didn't. Thanks for listening. Um, so I've got ghost walks that go through April. So just check out the dates. And then I also hold public investigations at the Walker Ames house to give people the experience of what it's like to do a paranormal investigation. And that's a lot of fun. That's 3 hours as well. So that's all right on portgambleparanormal.com. And another awesome thing we've got coming up, and it's a station exclusive to Let's Talk Radio. It's a gallery reading for the world, and it's going to be hosted by Nicole Strickland, who's co-host of Haunted Voices and host of the Afterlife Chronicles right here on Let's Talk Radio. And it's going to be Diet Renee from Schooled with Spirit, and she's got her show on Mondays here. She's going to be one of the readers, and then also Missy Hart from the Good Shit Show. She's another one of the readers, and yours truly. So I'm really looking forward to doing a gallery reading with these ladies, and hoping to really some good messages will come through for some people who really need it. So that's coming up on October 30th, and it's 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and you don't want to miss it. Gallery readings are so interesting. They can be a lot of fun. You never know who's going to show up in a gallery reading. So it's always quite interesting. So you can get all the details for that on WLTK-DB.com. So definitely go there. You just scroll down to the upcoming event section, and you can get your tickets right there. Tickets are $40, and that's for 3 readers and hosted by Nicole Strickland. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Tell your friends if you know someone who's been, needing some messages from the other side. Let them know this is going to be a really good opportunity for that. Of course, not everyone is guaranteed a reading, but you never know. We might be able to do that. So tell your friends, tell them to go to WLTK-DB.com and check out the upcoming events. Also, while you're there, check out our station shop. I'm always sporting this thing. I love the new logo. Station owner Todd Bates, host of Haunted Voices, been doing some killer work on the website. It's such a fun experience just to go through it. And so if you like the station and the shows, go check it out. Get your shirt, get a mug. All the shows have their own shirts as well. So definitely check it out. If you like this show, get a Paranormal Pete Show shirt. It does not have my mug on it, so you're safe. But anyways, we got lots of cool stuff coming up, and I'm just super excited. And before I move on, just want to give a huge shout out to my best friend, my beautiful wife, Molly. We're celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary on Thursday, and I just want to give a big shout out and a happy anniversary. I wouldn't be here without you, Molly. So thank you, and happy anniversary. All right. Now I get the sappy stuff out of the way here. Okay, my guest tonight does a lot of really cool work, and I'm excited to get into it and um, and get into the conversation with her. And thanks, Todd, the station manager. So happy anniversary. So enjoying the conversation tonight. We love questions. So if you have questions as we're talking about stuff, fire away. We'll try and answer them. But Mary Beckman is my special guest tonight. She's a psychic medium and author, and she's also a master galactic healer and a medical intuitive, an evidential and trance medium, and a metaphysical teacher. Her prowess with healing and providing personal readings is well known throughout the spiritual community. You may have also subscribed to her podcast, Metaphysical Meltdown. If you haven't checked that out, go to YouTube and find it and subscribe to it. She interviews people from all over the world discussing all things paranormal and spiritual. And her strong belief is that everyone is intuitive and can easily learn to heal themselves and others. And it's evidenced throughout her work in the community and her writings. She's also available for private readings and interviews. And she enjoys the beautiful Pacific Northwest, living with her husband and her 4 dogs in Tacoma, Washington. Let's welcome to the show special guest, Mary Beckman.
Hi.
There she is. Hey, Mary.
Hey, happy to be here.
All
happy
right,
to be here. Still trying to get this thing to come up on my page. So
okay.
My husband's on it now.
Technology.
Technology and I do not, we don't.
Yeah. Have you noticed that with very spiritually awakened people, technology wigs out a lot around them?
Absolutely. I can touch a computer, even if my husband will say, "Oh, here we go. Now we're on."
Okay.
He'll say, "It's all ready to go," and I'll say, "It rolled, and it's nothing like you showed me." I come up and it blows up. So, it's just
funny.
a thing. I understand. It's okay.
Yeah, it happens. It's just your energy. So speaking of your husband, I'm a musician. He's a musician, and I understand he's in a band. What's the band's name?
Sam Cobra.
Sam Cobra, right on. And is there a Facebook page or anything?
Yes, under Sam Cobra. Sam Cobra is a little toy from the 60s. He's a toy dealer, antique toy dealer. So he named the band, and they're great musicians. There's 4 in the band, and they just really mesh well. And they're going to be at the Spanish Ballroom in Tacoma at McMenamin's on Saturday. So if anybody wants to come, it's going to be a long show. And it's a beautiful place. If you haven't been, it's beautiful in there. And
very nice.
I think I might get to go to this one because my cousin is in town. We're going to go and hang out maybe for a minute.
Yeah. And, hopefully don't taunt them, right? Heckle them from the crowd.
They had a few hecklers the last time we were there. And the singer is just a gorgeous young woman. And this guy was yelling, "I love you." And Tom steps in. He goes, "I love you back, man." It was pretty funny.
Oh, boy. Well, if anybody ever heckles my band and says, "Play Freebird," they will not soon forget it.
I try to yell "Play Freebird," but it doesn't get me anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just wanted to give his band a shout out because local musicians they need all the support we can give to each other and share out there. So check out Sam Cobra on Facebook and check out the band. So let's talk about you though. You do a lot of different things. So tell us, what have you been up to this last year and a half through all the shutdown and everything? What have you been up to?
Well, those chihuahuas got to eat, you know what I'm saying? So I've been doing things here and there. I spent time focusing on my book and was able to get that out a few months ago. I think it came out in June, and it was my 4th one. And Spirit has shown me now that I'm starting my next one pretty quick. I think it's going to be this week. And I've been happy with how the one I was working on came out. It's called The Art of Your Energy, Galactic and Celestial Light Coding. And it really, I just give all the info that I've learned over the last almost 20 years, I guess. So for a while, I did it part-time, and I still really it's certainly not an all-day thing. There are naps, Pete. There's a lot of naps. Some naps.
Of course.
And so, we have this group called Hands of Light, and Hands of Light's on Facebook, and it's an 1,100 member group. And what we do is ask people to put themselves on the page if they need some healing or some love or some prayer. And we're not a group of people that talk about fear porn. We don't talk about politics or anything. We just talk about healing and helping each other. And there's been a lot of great miracles. And so I'm really proud to be part of that.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I'm a member of that page as well, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that comes on there. And the world needs more work like that, rather than the other stuff you were talking about. So keep it up. Keep it up. Have you found yourself, in your private readings, have you found, like, did that pick up at all last year, or how'd that go for you?
When people are stressed, like the last couple weeks, everything's quiet. And it was really important for me to be quiet during those weeks because I was learning what happened to me, because the energy of Lionsgate was so huge. And the energy, of course, the full moon the other night, Aquarius full moon, and I'm an Aquarius, and it felt good. It felt good, but I learned an awful lot, and I called in that learning. I wanted to learn during Lionsgate. So I just opened myself up and said, higher self, show me where I'm being resistant. Show me what I'm not seeing. Show me what I need to do to heal. Show me whatever. Oh yeah, that happened. And so I had 2 weeks of sitting, staring at the wall, basically, because I had something huge happen to me that I had to get somebody else to tell me what that was, because I kind of thought it happened. I wasn't sure because I would have said in the past that my aspects were in, but somehow or another they all kind of went. Okay. And so I went to another healer who's Derek Condit, who's a great healer. And I went to him and I said, so something happened. And he says, yeah, I can see that. What do you think it is? I told him what it was. He goes, it is. There's like 9 more of you in there. And I thought, geez. A lot of people don't even like one of me. What's the deal? Now there's 9. So I don't know if he said 9 or 8 or whatever. There's a lot. And so I have to get used to how to use that beautiful energy. Yeah. And so everybody's kind of just sitting, staring at the wall the last couple of weeks because this energy is so huge. The sun and the Schumann is up. And so we're feeling these odd feelings. And so basically you asked, the question was, did I get busier in 2020? It was a different kind of busy because I did Metaphysical Meltdown, where I interviewed people all over the place. And then I did, I'd pop on and do some free healing, and I do whatever. And yeah, I did. It's very interesting that during 2020, you know how many times people ask me about the pandemic?
0?
And it continues to be like that. Yeah. People are into, how can I grow spiritually? What in the world is happening with this energy? Who are my galactic families? And God forbid, who is my boo? Is my boo coming? You love those readings, don't you?
Yeah.
And so really I just hung out at home with the dogs, because my dog we had one dog with one, and he is an elderly pug. Can't see, can't hear. He's really sweet though. And we thought Puggy needed a friend, and Tom definitely needed a friend because he went through a cancer diagnosis. He had melanoma in a couple places, melanoma. And so he was going through some weirdness. And so I thought, let's just get another dog. Let's get a Chihuahua. We always wanted a Chihuahua. So we adopted Lulu, and Lulu came to us pregnant, which we didn't know. And so now we had 4 dogs, and one we gave to one of my besties who just loves that dog. His name's Ace. We have Ace, Astro, and Rocket. And Rocket, awesome. First time ever being as a dog. He'd never been a dog. Oh. He sleeps like this. So his feet are down and his butt is up. And the only thing we can figure out is maybe that was when he was in his mom's belly, maybe. He got used to that. He sleeps in downward dog, which is very odd.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's funny.
Oh, wow. Talk about getting a dog that came pregnant. That's a bonus deal.
That was a bonus. We had no idea. We kept looking at her thinking, well, she's beefing up a little bit. I wonder what's going on.
Yeah. We're not feeding her any different. Yeah. That's awesome. And well, I'm glad you were able to, round out the family there and have some fun with it too. So, yeah, that's really good. And I just asked kind of how things went through the pandemic. I've been asking all my guests just to kind of see what it's been like since it's been such a unprecedented time.
Yes.
Just it's just been interesting, and it's been kind of a wide range of responses from people getting way more busy to nothing to people, paranormal teams getting a lot more calls because people are at home when they're not usually at home and
Right.
experiencing things, so it's been just interesting, and so that's why I asked that. Well, a little bit about this weird energy that's been going on because I think I've been feeling it too, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. It felt kind of weird. It was almost kind of it's very hard to explain, but it's a very it was like a really polarizing sort of feeling to me. Like it would feel really good, and then it would feel really heavy, kind of all at the same time. And so it was making me feel weird. What was now when we come back from our station break, we're going to pay the bills here. Let's talk about what you experienced with that, and maybe that'll make some more sense for me and other people out there who maybe experience the same sort of thing. So we'll be right back here on the Paranormal Pete Show with your host Pete Orbea and special guest Mary Beckman here on WLTK-DB.com. We'll see you in a minute.
Sunday, October 24th, the 2021 Statler City Psychic Fair in Buffalo, New York. Come out and meet psychic medium and host of School Through Spirit, Diet Renee, and spirit medium and host of the Ghost Finders, Rob Thompson. Diet Renee is a renowned psychic medium, medical intuitive, and master teacher of psychic mediumship development. Hailing from Wisconsin, Diet trained underworld-renowned psychic Lisa Williams. Spirit medium Rob Thompson is one of Diet's mediumship development students. He is the host and executive producer of America's longest-running indie paranormal TV show, The Ghost Finders, on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Roku. He has made guest appearances on other shows including Discovery Channel's Paranormal 911 and A Haunting, and teaches paranormal research at the Los Angeles City College. Come and meet these two superb mediums together on stage for live gallery readings. Remember, Sunday, October 24th, the 2021 Statler City Psychic Fair. Get your tickets now at StatlerCity.com. That's StatlerCity.com. Doors open at 1, close at 6. Gallery readings, tarot cards, and more. Statler City Psychic Fair. Tickets at StatlerCity.com.
Okay, welcome back to episode 32 of the Paranormal Pete Show. And I'll mention also, if you want to go back and watch this show again or catch any others that you missed across the station with all the different shows, they're right there on the website, WLTK-DB.com. They're also pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast. Just type in the letters WLTK-DB and you'll find it. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible on Amazon, everywhere. So just look up WLTK-DB and you can catch the shows. So, and it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen here. You can get all the shows on demand. And that's always fun when you're driving around, right? So before the break with Mary here, she was talking about some of the, she had some pretty big experiences over the last couple weeks and talking about the weird energy, lots of energy, I'll just say. And it kind of made me realize, well, yeah, I guess I've been feeling really strange lately as well. Kind of a happy but heavy all at the same time. So, Mary, kind of explain what was going on, with the full moon. And then I'm going to ask you about Lionsgate and have you talk about that a little bit. But tell us a little bit about what kind of you experienced with the energy, and maybe if someone out there listening or watching Feel free to chime in or ask a question if you've kind of been feeling the same way.
Sure. Well, I watch the space weather and I remote view Earth. I listen to Pat Donworth on Facebook. What I do notice is Pat explains it really well and in a very steady way. So she'll talk about, okay, the Schumann resonance is up. You might be feeling this and this. Solar is giving off like filaments. You might be, feeling this or this. You'll see people on social media feeling these feelings and going into fear. So it'll be something's happening. You better go get, 20 jugs of water and,
or toilet paper.
5 days of
toilet paper.
And it's just like, come on now. So all you really need to do is listen to Pat, because Pat just kind of tells it like it is. So she usually gives the update in the morning, but if it's a big day, she'll give it in the afternoon too. She'll say, okay, it's coming in back east time, right? So we'll know that, so what people have been feeling is a little unsteady on their feet. That's one of them. And then band around the head or pressure on the head. I know I went through a time where it felt like I was having the big one, but it was like pressure and like, and it's just chakra opening. If they're, I hear people talk about there's no more chakras, there's this or that, and a lot of statements. I can only tell you what I see. And I see that the system, what people are inside their big bubble, it's a changing, man. It's looking different. And so what I do is I send, when people have reading with me, I send them these 2 little slips of paper. First slip is things to say to feel better during the day. It's reunification and grounding. And people aren't, they don't ground enough, so they need it. And so then if you're still sucking after about 15 minutes, you want to do this. And this is what I say, hey, every day do this, do this, do this. And one of the things is check the space weather, because you may understand that it's a full moon. And so you're feeling emotional, or you're having old stuff pop up. There's a lot of people are talking about, oh, my old stuff that I've not even thought about is popping up now, which is great. Mm-hmm. Where it's, it's right on time.
Right on time. So where do you go to check the space weather?
I just check Pat Donworth, but I'm sure there's a lot of places you can use. And there's the Schumann resonance stuff is all over social media. And so, in my humble opinion, there are people that, set their hair on fire about this stuff, or you can just listen to Pat. But,
so does Pat have a website that you go to?
Facebook page, Pat,
Facebook?
P-A-T, Donworth. It's a gal, Pat Donworth. She describes herself as a science buff. And so she talks about it very specifically, but it's so easy to understand. And after you read it, for 4 years, maybe you'll understand it.
Oh, so it's almost like getting a degree then.
Well, you just got to watch and understand what she's saying, because she talks about gamma waves, and then those people get on Facebook and social media and say, the gamma rays. And I'm like, oh my God, please. Come on, now, settle down.
Waiting for the Hulk. Yeah, then waiting for the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, to show up then.
Exactly.
Oh, very interesting. So, I mean, I didn't really consider that before. I've wondered about it before, but how much do you feel that what's going on, up there in space, and, the science of it really, speaking of the gamma rays or filaments from the solar, like how much do you think that affects people and we just don't even realize it?
Sensitive people a lot. People who are just waking to remember, maybe not a ton, or maybe they feel it and they think they're ill, maybe, or they think something else is going on. But a lot of it can just be understood through listening to, maybe a little astrology. That helps a little bit too. And of course, if somebody's sick, figure it out. But I'm just saying that a lot of stuff we're feeling right now, if we're really sensitive, we're going to be feeling the earth. We're part of it. Right. And so here we are on our grid. We're both standing in our grid space right now. Okay. And all the energy comes down from up there, comes through us, right, into earth. So we are going to feel it.
Oh, yeah, and it makes sense when you think about it like that. And I just think it's something that's not widely realized or people are conscious of. And so that's really interesting. I'm certainly going to check out the space weather and see if I can start to identify when certain things are going on. I'm feeling a certain thing, and maybe help me identify as well. And so I hope the listeners out there, you'll go check it out as well. That was Pat Donworth, DONWORTH. Check it out on Facebook. That's a great tip and something really interesting to follow up on. So thanks for that. So, well, let's get into, some of what your usual work is with people, and you mentioned remote viewing Earth. And can you explain a little bit what that means?
Well, the way I do it is I go find my family's ship and I look out the window.
Okay.
I don't know what else to tell you. That's the easiest way, because being an Aquarius, and what I did for my actual living in my life is I was a florist for a long time. So if you've ever been a florist, the whole idea is, can you make something beautiful speedily? So I think it's just in my heart to understand things, in my personality to understand things in a speedy way. And so my guides know that, and they know to get me to the easiest way. And so my guides just bring me to where I need to be. And I look down and there's Earth, and it's changing all the time. The colors will change, the energy will change, the symbols will change, and we just follow symbols. I mean, that's how we're reading your energy, right? When I look at your energy, I'm reading symbols in your energy field.
Right.
Plus,
and so, go ahead.
Plus getting, how does my body feel in your presence? What kind of visions are they giving me? What can I hear? Do I hear your guides and higher self talk? So that's it. So basically you can listen to Earth. So how do you understand Earth? I just go right to Lady Gaia, and she tells me what we need to do. Very
cool. Very cool. So when your guides take you up to your family ship, I love that. I'm going to think about it that way now.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything special that you learned to do as you were awakening yourself and developing yourself, how to get in that mind space of, is it meditation, hyper focus, kind of, how do you get to where then you can go up and take a look?
So hyper focus is definitely not how I got there. I got there through meditation. And in the beginning, I had to learn to quiet my regular human mind. And so I meditated a lot. And now these days, it's like a long meditation or a long daily prayer kind of thing. Because really, I do talk to my guides. It's usually about my personal stuff or somebody else's personal stuff. Or, a couple people called me the other day, and they said they're friends of mine, and they said, this is happening and this is happening. And I went out to get some water, and I said to my husband, I love my job. Because it was such weird question. For privacy, of course, I can't say what it was, but it was just off the chain questions. And I love those. I think it's really fun to help people that are seeing cool stuff, and it's really remarkable how much more energy and understanding and awakening and remembering people are doing right now. It's like it really happened. And so I learned meditation, and my first guide was Holy Mother Mary. That's my guardian angel. And so I sat with her for a long time and learned a bunch of stuff. And then I took some Reiki. I'm a Reiki master 3 different ways. And I also took a little bit of, the name escapes me, another type of I can't think of it, another type of a healer that I did that work for a while. And then pretty soon I started developing my own healing. And that's pretty much all I do now, except for I do Karuna and Holy Fire Reiki, because that stuff's just really good. It's really quick. And so it's kind of a combo. And so by now, after these years, it's all a combo of whatever comes up. And my guides will say, go to the codes, go to this, go to that. And I just listen through my higher self. And that's how I figured it out, I guess.
That's so cool. Let's talk about the healing a little bit and how you've kind of developed, and you kind of do your own method, your own way of doing it. What, it sounds like it was early on in your journey, you kind of knew healing was a direction to go and something you were supposed to do. How did you were there certain experiences, or was it just your guides telling you? What kind of drew you more towards, learning about healing and Reiki and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I guess I started out being a little anxious kid, I guess.
Okay.
And my mom had a lot of health problems. And I was always trying to think about how I could help her, what she could do. And so I was really directed towards the want of helping other people. And then also I sure wanted to heal myself. I wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
And I just learned some different modalities and kind of just made them my own, which I think that's what people do. I think people always do that. They learn from other people and they make it their own.
Yeah.
And, when you go to a class, you take what you want and make it your own. So, but Spirit cautioned me. They said, sit with us for quite a while before you go out and, learn some other stuff. And so I read some, and I learned a Tao's. That was really important. That's one of my first skills, because energy is everything. And if you can figure out how to read energy, energy never lies. So if somebody's saying, this offer is the best thing, it's going to help you and you're going to make a lot of money, and the dowsing shows no energy, you can tell that it's not for you.
Right.
And so
right.
I douse constantly. I have my pendulum with me all the time. So I'm dowsing. Is this food good for me? Is this supplement okay? Is that person somebody I want to work with? Used to be when I watch TV, is that person lying? Yes. But I don't watch TV anymore. So dowsing is just a skill that I think everybody should learn and can learn pretty easily. You just find a pendulum that loves you and figure out how to make it go. It's real easy.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I've just kind of dipped my toe in the water with that before, but it sounds like maybe I should look into that more.
It is great for paranormal because you can instantly find what's what. And you can demonstrate, if you can see that there's a spirit over in the corner and you walk up with permission, you walk up, do you mind if I show that you're here? And you walk up and the energy goes, that's pretty cool to be able to do that.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, I wanted to, let's go back for a second, because I missed asking you about Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to all of us out here what that is and how you read from that, or how you incorporate that into what you do.
Okay. So for sure, I don't know much astrology. I was on Eileen Grimes' show called Jupiter Rising for a while, but that wasn't my function. My function was to read guests and read people and stuff. And so I know like this much. But what I understand about Lionsgate is it happens every year, starts in, I want to say later July, and it goes through August 8th. August 8th is the main day of Lionsgate, but it's a few days after that too, as you know, just like full moon, there's a few days before, a few days after. Mm-hmm. And what happens, if I remember correctly, and you guys call me on it if I don't. So Sirius Star is 26 or 28 times brighter than the sun, and it aligns with the sun on Lionsgate. That's why it felt like we were going to fall over.
Okay.
So on that day. So on that, I was teaching that day, and I remember my guide saying in the morning, you guys are going to wind up a little early. Well, we were like 20 minutes over, and a couple people said, I can't even stay awake anymore. I want to fall over kind of deal. It's because the energy that comes in is just so, and then you get to see all the awesome Lyran beings and all the awesome Syrian beings. And I just remembered this year, I'm so thankful for this, and I forget how I ever knew to do this. Maybe I remembered or somebody told, but anyway, we opened up to the solar code. Oh, I think it might've been Galactic Ashley talking about opening up to the solar codes. And I thought, we better do that. And we better open up to the Lyran and the Syrian codes. And doggone it, did that really help? So when we opened to that, I could see it come in. So we were, working that day, the 7th and the 8th, and you could really feel it. It was very palpable. I love Lionsgate. I always feel good because I'm Aquarius, Leo. And so I feel good when it's Aquarius or Leo. Okay. All the other, planet crossings I might be sucking, but that's a good one for me.
That's a good one for you. Sure. So now you're talking about codes, and in your book, The Art of Your Energy talks about healing codes, light codes. Can you describe to us, what are these codes? What are, what is it that you're reading? What is it that you're picking up? But what are these codes you're talking about?
So a good chunk of people on Earth today have a code or a coding system that has come in, and it's divinely brought through us. And so it can be a beautiful piece of art. It can be a toning, a singing, a movement of the body. You've seen people do this, right? Have you seen that? And they get the energy out into you. So my coding is something I didn't even recognize for a while that was my coding exactly, until finally I figured it out. I could see it around other people. I could see it around me, and it kept looking the same way. So finally I twigged to it. Oh, it's a coding. And then one day I was sitting in a Karuna and Holy Fire class, and my guide showed me all of it. And it was actually inside me. I tucked it in me when I was Lemurian, which I already knew I was Lemurian. And I tucked it in me, and I took it with me. And now I can get it out of me into another person so that they can heal with it or get it out of them into another person. So it's Reiki-like in that way. I can teach a person to do it. It takes 4 hours to raise a person's energy to a point where they can handle it. And then the second day is how to manipulate the codes. So that's what it is.
And like pull certain things out. Do you pull certain things out of people? Or is it just kind of the energy as a whole?
It's an innie. It's an innie. So it comes out of me into you. So I can demonstrate if somebody wants a reading or whatever. I can demonstrate, but it's what they told me early on, which is really odd. They said you have to teach it within a class to give it, which is odd because it appears in the book. So I've had people look at those codes and say, I can use those codes, and I'm like, cool, great, but you kind of have to do the way Spirit said, because it's Reiki-like in that way. So it would be like opening up a Reiki book. Many of us can look at those codes, which are the Reiki symbols, right? Many of us can go, I know what that does because I've been doing it for 5 million lifetimes, right? So people can look at my codes. In fact, some of my besties could see them before I even put them out in the codes in the book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so they're very simple little drawings that hold a lot of power. And so what happened was Spirit would download into me 4 or 5 of them at a time. I would draw them. I'd hand them off to my husband, who's a graphic designer, and he would make them pretty, but he had to do them a few times to get the right energy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So they work really well. And so the way it looks right now is when I work on somebody, or let's just say it's me in the morning, I get up, I want to adjust my energy. I'll walk up to my code board because I have them hanging on my wall across my office, goes that way, and they're on my wall. And I just walk up and I say to my companion guide, I say, what do I need today? And he goes, this one, that one, this one, and that one. And I go, and I'm good. I'm solid. So somebody might call and say, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling nauseous. I've got a headache. My left leg is hurting. And I'm upset about my job. Okay. They'll go, this one, this one, this one, and this one will go. And people go, wow, I feel a lot better. What was that? It's really cool. It's really cool. And it's probably the best thing ever to teach people how to use those codes. Cause I've done 2 classes now. Actually more if you count the little classes, but there's 2 sets of classes basically. And I love teaching them to people and having people understand how fast you can do healing with them.
That's so cool that you can teach it. And you do have some upcoming classes I saw, September 18th and 19th, and also October 2nd and 3rd. You've got some classes, The Art of Your Energy 1 classes coming up. And for everybody listening and watching out there, go to marybeckman.com, and that's MaryBeckman.com, and you can get information on her upcoming classes. This sounds really cool. I mean, so does it take you, let's say someone who's just kind of starting out, they're realizing that their psychic ability is awakening, and they're kind of getting their feet, foot on the ground, head in the clouds, whatever you want to call it. Um, what's like a simple thing, like when you were at that stage, what was a simple thing you could do to kind of help look for those codes and start identifying them? Is it just like you're seeing something and then you're, like you said, you're drawing it down, drawing it, or what's kind of like a good tip that somebody could use if they're just kind of starting out and trying to look deeper into things?
Well, I've heard people describe that they can see their codes coming like I did. So I'd be like, when you have somebody across from you, or even if you're just holding their energy in your mind and you look around their body, you can see. And it looked like, what do you call that? It's like what you see on cave walls, not God, do you call it kanji or cuniform? That kind of stuff is what it looked like.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so I thought, well, that's got to be something. I wonder where that's coming from. But I always trust, though. I know in divine timing that somebody is going to tell me. And they said the other day, one of my guides said, that is actually how you like it. And we know. So I just let it come to me when it's supposed to be. I don't go looking for stuff too much.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm looking at Earth, or I want to look at somebody's physical issues and stuff. I'm looking for it. But for my own stuff, I kind of wait till it's right there. And then they'll let you know when it's all in timing, divine timing. And this book was a whole walk of trust for me, because I didn't know what I was writing. And I had been writing for 3 or 4 years. And Spirit kept saying, keep writing. Because my friend Sandy McNaughton, she's a really great medium and psychic. And I asked her in like 2019, maybe late 2019, what's going on with that book? And she says, well, it's not happening quite yet. I thought, okay, Sandy knows. Sandy's the one who always says, there's something wrong with your car. And then doggone it if it breaks. So I really trust her. You got water in your bathroom. I'm like, doggone it. And sure enough, I did. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to chill my chili and I'm not going to worry about this book. And so they kept saying, just keep writing, we'll tell you. And so basically I just had all these notebooks, and then I would go through and I'd tear out what the Holy Ones had said, what I needed. And that's what happened. That's how the book came. And then by that point I had my writing guide. I could hear him.
Yeah.
And I could hear my companion guide. And so they would stand across from me and they'd say, this is what we want you to talk about today in your book. And so that's what we do. And then I got the codes, and then I understood how it went down, and there it was. So it was a trust. And so at the very moment that I had to write about how you get the codes out of your body, they sat down with me and showed me that moment, not before, right then. And the moment I needed to know, how do I get it out of my body into somebody else? They showed me right then, not before, but right then.
And it just, boom, just happens when the time is right, when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, because otherwise you get anxious, don't you, if you think ahead? If you think in the future, it's not right in front of me, I'm not going to think about that. And so it was right in front of me when I wanted. So thank God I have such lovely friends. And several of them said, yes, it's okay for me to practice this. And they could feel it. They could use them. And away we went. I trusted it. And I had a lot of groups of people on Hands of Light that would allow me to use those codes on them. And so they were in my first groups, because I had to make sure the codes would work, because I don't want to write a book and help people or tell people, oh yeah, this is great. And then, it doesn't work. So the people on Hands of Light were really great, and they allowed me to do that. And then finally Spirit gave me this code called abundance, and people were all over that. They wanted that abundance code. So I said, okay, cool. We'll send out that abundance code, but you got to tell me if you get abundance. Oh my gosh. It was the coolest thing. People are still writing to me about, just random abundance.
Amazing. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I'll take that code too. So I still have to do your class.
No, I will be happy to give you the abundance code, or anybody who wants to ask for different things, because the thing is about abundance is we should be having abundance right now because it's available to us, right? We just got to pull our head out and understand that when we're worried about all kinds of different things, we're not going to we're not going to see that stuff. Our mind is on something else. And so when you slow down, but the brain is going to brain. That's what it does.
Right.
It brains. But
Yep.
can you entrain your heart and mind? Yeah, I got a code for that. So once you train heart and mind and you start thinking through your heart and start looking around for where's that abundance, oh my goodness. We're talking money, we're talking opportunities, all kinds of cool stuff. I actually got some myself.
Good for you.
Else. Yeah, through somebody else. They got a huge pile of abundance, and I got to benefit from that too. So it's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. So when you talking about, I love the thought of thinking from your heart, instead of your mind. Would you kind of liken that to someone using clairvoyance and looking from their forehead instead of their eyes? Is it the same sort of idea, or it's different?
It's different because your mind will take you on a merry chase, right? You'll just start thinking and oh my gosh, and then pretty soon your body hurts and you're stiff and you haven't slept. When your body and your heart and brain is entrained, you're going to think more through your heart, and then it's going to be easier for you to say, yeah, it looks like I'm having a little trouble sleeping. Well, I could get up and read for a minute till I go back to sleep. It's because your brain isn't going to go blat, blat, blat all the time, as much, even though that is what your brain does. So usually you can just say, calm down now, it's going to be okay. But we want to think through our heart. So I used to put them together in a different way. Joe Dispenza does that. Dr. Joe, he does that all the time in a different way, heart math, right? And there's a lot of people that do the different thing. All I know is I've got a code for it now. And it comes through that way. Archangel Chamuel is all about that.
Interesting. Wow, there's so much stuff I got to research here and really get familiar with. How did now I know that you do is when you're doing some of this stuff, when you're doing the healing and you're working with a client, is it like, do you kind of go into a trance to see around them, see what codes you see with them, see who their guides are? Like, do you go into a trance, or is that only for certain things?
I do a bunch of kinds of mediumship where, the type of, gosh, you guys, it's getting later and my brain's kind of funny, but I do the type of mediumship where I'm an evidential medium. And so
Okay.
It's a mind thing, right? And then there's mediums also that can get healing from my body to yours, right? And I think we're kind of twigging to a lot of people can do this. I mean, we're just learning in 2021 what this body can do. Everybody can do this. It's not, I am no special person whatsoever, not a bit. Everybody can learn to do some sort of healing in a chunk. And I bet you it's a bigger chunk now after Lionsgate, but I remember testing it out. It was like 30% of people had some kind of code, of the awakened people, right? Had some kind. I'll bet you it's more now, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the empath skills have gone way up. Because I used to test people on empath.
Yeah.
And it was much lower. That's how come people are having a major cow right now, is because they're feeling everybody's feelings. And so when people are feeling everybody's feelings, they get all worried. And then it's like, Yeah. They want to talk about it. They're learning to use their throat chakra. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say over the last year and a half, there's so many feelings that are being put out there into the world.
Yes.
And that's probably helps, further back up what you're saying, that it's so much higher now than it was before. And so I guess, would you agree then, there's more of a psychic and spiritual awakening across all of people right now as compared to 10 years ago?
Absolutely. This is the most beautiful time. This is the time that's been foretold forever. This is coming into we're coming into the golden age. I really believe that. So everything we were excited about 20 years ago is happening right in front of our eyes. People are waking up to remember who they actually are. And everybody kind of has to go through that time where they're learning to use their throat chakra, and people are in fear and people are in worry. We all have to go through that. And so that's why we have to remember nobody's better or more enlightened than anybody else,
Yeah.
So there's people right now that are giving big predictions. So we'll see how those predictions come out, won't we?
Yeah. I guess so.
Yep.
Yeah, and I tried. I wish I'd have known about the abundance code, and I want to try and learn that because I tried to, and maybe I don't know if you've tried as well. I tried, a couple of years ago to play the lottery
Uh-huh.
and ask my guides for the numbers. I said, "Hey, this would really help me out. I want to help a lot of people." That sort of thing. And so I felt like I was getting the numbers. I wrote a bunch of these numbers down. I went and I played them, and guess what? I was one digit off every number for that lottery drawing.
Wow.
I kind of had to laugh and be like, "All right, yeah, okay. I get it. It doesn't work like that. I have to find my own richness through myself." So I don't know if you've ever tried that before, but I took that
No.
as a universal ha-ha.
Yeah. No, people have tried to get me to give them the numbers. And I thought, if I could see those numbers, am I going to give them to you?
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
and the thing is you can try to hack that kind of stuff. But if it's in your chart, it's in your chart. I know people
Yeah.
that go to the casino and make bank all the time. It's in their
Yep.
chart to be abundant.
Yeah,
But you
that's
can
amazing.
walk into abundance and keep it yourself. You just kind of have to get that mindset because
Yeah.
is there universal abundance out there? Yeah, but it's one of those things, are we supposed to know that? No.
Right?
It's
Too
kind of
much
like,
knowledge could
yeah,
be
it's kind of
dangerous.
like,
Sure.
yeah, it's more like the thumb.
Oh,
Yeah, but I know this isn't that kind of show. But what I'm trying to say is we don't know what our body can do. We don't know that we are meant to be abundant. We don't know that this earth is ready, willing, and able to support us. We don't know that, but we're
sure.
getting an inkling. And
Yeah.
if we just, all I would just say is work through your feelings, bring up the old stuff, sit in how you feel, bring up anything that's causing you pain. Go back to the beginning, find out why you feel that way, find out who labeled you, who you were. Most of the time you're not that person. Do the work right now, instead of allowing fear to run you, because that fear machine is going 24 hours a day. Don't
Yeah.
let it get you.
That's really good advice, especially nowadays. So thank you for sharing that. Um, so how could and I'm curious for myself, because I do mental mediumship
Mm-hmm.
or some evidential. Um, how would I or somebody else who's maybe just starting out, how do you self-identify codes, like, for yourself? Like, how did it was shown to you and you were able to pay attention and understand what that was? Like, kind of how would someone be able to self-identify codes for themselves?
My energy had to go up to a certain point. So I was lagging behind a little bit. And
Okay.
when I got into that class called Karuna and Holy Fire, my friend Kelly Herbert from Michigan came and taught that class. And that is a barn burner. That is not like regular Usui Reiki, which is much lower, much older.
Okay.
So there's a million kinds of Reiki now. And so there's a lot of teachers around that teach these different modalities. And she teaches the one from back east. I can't remember the name. It's in my book, but it is called Karuna and Holy Fire. And I have to tell you, that is fast and really great. And it was beautiful how it suddenly just came before me. I could see my guide saying, this is what you have. This is how it's going to go. Just get out of the way. But prior to that, I had to become a higher self channel. That was the other key. I
Mhm.
had to release all those truckloads of guides that come to all of us, right? Because everybody has an agenda. And so many of these guides I was with in the past,
Mhm.
like everybody else. Okay, everybody else. We came from somewhere. We've been masters, we've been angels, we've been galactics, we've been all those things, right? And so when we find out who we are, totally cool. It's really great to understand where our line comes from, who we're related to, what did we do in past lives, totally great. But now we are in this human body, which is like driving a Pinto. Seriously.
Right.
And so we got to learn how to do that. So what I did was I became a higher self channel, and it felt like I lost every friend I ever had. It was
Really?
yeah. Because I go lay down and have a nap a few times a day, maybe once. And that's when I talk to Master Jesus or whoever, those are my peeps.
Yeah.
And my husband will go, "Are you going off to talk to your imaginary friends?" and they're not. They're like those are my family,
Yeah.
And so I had nobody for that month. And I was learning how to work with my higher self. And so it's a lot easier. It's a lot quicker. It's just smooth and easy. So does it mean that I still don't talk to some of those beautiful people? Yeah, I still do. Definitely. My companion guide came back and it was a giant relief. And he's the one who did these codes with me.
Interesting. So, well, I imagine maybe it was kind of sounds like maybe it was a needed break from all of the others, and it was needed for you to kind of get, the higher self, to be able to channel your higher self. And so that's really interesting. So, what kind of beings do you kind of associate with different facets of your life, and how maybe that will help someone out there? Maybe it might make sense to somebody. And by the way, you've had people commenting that they love your book and can't wait for your class in September. So thanks, people, for commenting that. Some of the names kind of went by quick, but a lot of people saying, "I love the abundance code." So that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I lost where I was going with that.
You were asking me,
woo.
you were asking me who are my guides, right?
Yeah. What kind of, so, this is the galactic part, I think. What kind of beings have helped you in different ways? And well, I'll just start there and then I'll ask a follow-up question.
Beings from every realm will speak because they come with whoever it is that's asking the questions. So whoever the sitter is, their beings will come and we talk to them. The people that I work with change all the time. And I think the reason why that is they're off working with others and doing other stuff. So constants for the last few years have been my companion guide, some of the archangels, some of the galactics. But I know many people that work with, tons of elemental. I love working with elemental beings because now they look so different and so many more are coming, and many galactic guides that don't look like those that I might have seen earlier. It's just like there's a lot of races now that are supporting us. And so this morning I was inspired by a card. I don't do any cards. I don't understand cards at all, but I was inspired by this card from Diana Cooper, who's just an awesome person. And it was Archangel. Oh my gosh, is it going to go out of my head now? It'll come to me. And I thought, I have not really talked to that archangel very much. And so I'm going to ask for him. So I went into my meditation this morning and I said, if there's any way I could speak with this Holy One, I would love to. Do you have a message for me today? So I got all this golden light and all this white light and all this device that was handed to me and all that. So I looked him up later, and he's the archangel of weight loss. Among other things, he does an awful lot of other stuff. And his name is one I know, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Just went out of my head. It'll come to me. Yeah. And he does a lot of stuff, but weight loss. I had to cackle because I've really been, I ditched everything that was tasty a long time ago. And I went from, vegetarian to vegan to vegetarian to eating a little meat to, being intuitive eating. And intuitively, I'd like to have some cake. That didn't work at all. So I'm bouncing back around, and now I'm just being really clean in my diet. And so him coming through with the angel of weight loss had to crack me up.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, I work with an awful lot of galactics and angelics. I'm angelic galactic, star and stone. So I got a little stone in me too.
Interesting. And is the stone that's more earthly or organic, or how do you describe that?
Lemurian, I guess I would say.
Okay, and for the layperson, what is that?
Crystals.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a good mix, actually. So now I've heard. What do you know about Palladians?
I have seen Palladians with other folks. I met Palladians at the Isetti Ranch once. Two of my friends and I were outside, and we were near the ranch, but we weren't on it. It was a place we were going to stay. And then the next night we were going to go do the sky watch. And one of the things I do is I ask whoever Holy One is coming in for somebody to please come and touch them and allow the person to feel the energy of their deceased person or the energy of the beings. And so I could see these ships up in the sky, and we could physically see pop, 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 the round ones. And we identified who they were. They were Palladian. And then I could see them rappelling down. It's like they were rappelling, and they stood in front of us, two or three. I think it was more at that point. Anyway, I said, can you please touch? And as soon as I said my friend's name, she went, ah! And so I don't think she expected it. And so, but sometimes, Palladians come in, and it's lovely, but that's not my group. I'm Syrian Arcturian. So
Okay.
those are the folks I speak with.
Yeah, and Arcturian, is that from the constellation Boötes in the star Arcturus?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know that much about that, but
so that's been like one of my favorite constellations through my life, and I had an awesome opportunity at my high school. We had a planetarium, and that one always, I took astronomy, of course, so I could sit in the planetarium. And Arcturus has always just really stood out to me. And I notice it like first thing, that's one of the first stars I always notice in the night sky. And also Orion's belt as well. Bo's been fascinated by that. But Arcturus has always been a fascination of mine. And if you don't know where that is in the sky, for people listening and watching out there, it's follow the arc of the Big Dipper's handle. Follow it over to the left, and then the next orangish colored star that you find, that's Arcturus. And so, beings that I've always kind of gravitated towards that. Do you think that might be something to do for me as well on a spiritual level?
Have you been able to chat with them?
Not that I am conscious of. Although I've had recurring dreams throughout my life. I think I've talked about it on the show before, of these, there's these beings. I don't know who they are really, but I know they're there for me. And they never speak, but I think I just receive information from them. And they float like about a foot off the ground. And they wear these big, I describe them as like Jedi hoods, Jedi robes, kind of is what they look like. And they've got really long fingers. And I can't really see their face, but they just look at, in my direction. We just kind of stare at each other in my dreams. And I think I receive information from them. And I kind of feel like in my own spiritual awakening and development, I feel like over the past couple of years, started to get more information from them or up there rather than more organic and earth, more of an empath sort of messages and things like that. So I feel like it's kind of going both ways, but I've never really been able to identify these beings. But maybe I just need to try a different tactic. But someone had told me before what sounds like it might be Palladians, but I'm just not sure.
Oh, I didn't check for Palladians. Let me see.
Here's the dowsing.
Well, I was dowsing earlier trying to figure it out. Might be. We can check into it. So what you could do is you could go to the cemetery or some really beautiful place where you are, because the energy is so tuned up there, and you could just come out into the night sky and say, I know you're there, and I know my family ship is near. Could you show yourself? And you'll get used to spotting a ship because it looks a certain way. So my friend Melanie is on somewhere. She was a minute ago, and she can spot a ship in like a second. And she took pictures.
Do you mean like visualization, or like actually like physically seeing?
Oh no, you can physically see them. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So all you have to do is figure out, okay, so what's a satellite? That's easy because it's going the
yeah.
What's a star? You can figure that. It's pretty easy. What's Elon? You can figure that out. But there is a photo on my Facebook in early June that Melanie took in Oregon. We did a big long trip this year.
Oh, nice.
And she took a photo of me, and I was standing there at night, and we had just met our lovely new friend. And we were standing in the field there, and I could see rainbow out of my left side. And I thought it was like maybe, gosh, I thought it was a TV, but I couldn't figure it out because there were trailers all around us and stuff. I couldn't figure it out. And it kept catching my eye, rainbow, rainbow, rainbow. And I could feel something too. So finally I just walked towards it, and I said, Melanie, is there anything over here? Because she was like all over the place, seeing all kinds of cool stuff. And she went out and she went, whoa. And she has the most remarkable picture of what we thought was an orb. So it was many times bigger than me, and it looks like it's going to run me over because I'm standing next to it.
Oh, geez.
And it's not. It's actually a ship, because if you pull in, you can see my guide's face in it.
Oh, wow.
So these are these are the types of ships that you can see a lot because they're little plasma ships, right? They're people, and they're run by thoughts. So if you go outside and you say, "Holy ones, I know you're up there," and we're all holy ones, right? I know you're up there. Can you show me yourself, right? And there's just it's incredible to see what is really there. So these photos that she takes would be inside homes, inside buildings, outside. And when you pull open the pictures, you can see everybody. So right where you are is millions of beings. They're everywhere.
Interesting. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try that, and I hope some people watching and listening out there that you'll try. Maybe go out and look at the sky. And we've got an amazing cemetery here. Beautiful night skies. So I'm definitely gonna be trying that. That's so interesting, and I want to learn more about the codes as well. So I mean, this is just to a lot of people, this is going to seem way out there, right? But really, anything's possible. In my mind, it's we don't know much, and anything's possible. That's my mantra for this show. We don't know much. I mean, you could say it in a different term. We don't know but anything's possible. So I think it's all interesting stuff to pursue. And have you, in your work, have people really just been able to kind of then start to be able to answer their own questions that they may have in their life, and that maybe with healing and stuff, have you found that people have kind of found those connections and been able to kind of develop in their own ways then?
Yes, because that's my goal, is that if I can't teach you something to do on your own, what good did I just do?
Sure.
Because you don't want to call a psychic every 5 minutes. You don't want to. You want to have some tools. And that's what it's all about, is that all of us can do this if we trust ourselves. So does that mean I don't ask for help? No, I do it all the time. I ask my friends to take a look at me, and because we can't sometimes see our own stuff, but we can intuit it. And so because everybody's intuitive, everybody has ability, right?
Yeah.
And you sit with it long enough and you learn a bunch of stuff, you'll become psychic. You can be a bunch of different types of medium. You can be a healer. And that's the thing that interests me is I want to help folks, but not to my detriment. So I've got really boundaries, and people call me a lot. I will say it's really time for you to sit with that, because you have some skills now, and people's skills coming online. It's so beautiful to see people just waking up. I had somebody wake up right in front of me the other day. There was a lot of cussing involved.
Oh no.
And it was the most beautiful thing, because they totally freaking got it.
Interesting. Well, that's a cool experience. You know, I kind of remember when I woke up, it was I felt emotionally drunk for a few days.
Yes.
Just like, whoa.
And that's what I was talking about. After all my aspects walked in, I just kept laughing because I felt so funny.
Yeah.
It was just 2 weeks of like nothing but just sitting in it. And prior to that, I remember in 2018, I got the flu like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying to my guides, what in the heck is that? They said, you're never going to be that sick again. It's a purging. So doggone it. If 2019 didn't come up, and I got purging in a different way. And because I know my husband's listening, I'm not going to say that word. So I had that for like the whole year. I purged. So along comes 2020, right? And I had, was it 2019 and 2020? I had what I would call a phoenix death twice. And I kept thinking, I think I'm going to go. And they kept out. And my guide, my very, very special guide, said, you can make that decision. This is one of your points, your choice points. And I remember thinking, really like to see how this political crap's going to turn out. I didn't say that to the Holy One, but I said, I would like to stay with my husband. I finally found him after 50 some years. I'd like to stay with him. Right. And my guides kept it. So my friend, Marty, she's a great reader and channel. And
yes.
And she likened it to me sitting out on the porch of a big house with all my guides inside. I can't remember if that was my vision or this is what Marty said. I can't remember. Every once in a while, one would come out and go, you okay out there? And so I had the Phoenix death twice. I'm thinking I'm past that now because all the freaking stuff come in. But people are talking about all kinds of new stuff that's going to be happening with the new developments of techniques and machines and different things that are going to do work for healing. So I cannot wait. I don't want to miss that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I would not want to miss that as well. So I want to ask you about, you know, it sounds like, oh, wait a second. I just lost my spot here. I don't really have any specific order of questions, but have you ever done, to your mediumship work, have you ever done physical mediumship? Have you ever had where something comes into you, or do you really just kind of keep that out? Or, I mean, as far as you mentioned boundaries earlier, is that kind of one of your boundaries? You know, how do you feel about that?
That's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't allow the deceased to walk through me. I don't allow anybody to pop in, and they'll try, as you know. And you got to have a big boundary. I don't want anybody in there that's not supposed to be in there. Yeah. And so, yeah, I've done that. I've done the, red light mediumship, not a lot, but, when you transfigure your face, when the guide comes in and you start to look like the guide, I've done that. That's a lot easier than you think it is. It's pretty easy. Sat through a few classes on that. And in the first day, we could all do it. So you can do that. I'm not a person that apports. I've been with people that do that, but I don't do that.
Yeah. So well, it's good that you've established, some boundaries in as far as that kind of work goes. I kind of more recently had an experience where I felt a spirit that I was trying to communicate with, then decided I'm just going to come into you. And I didn't really want that. And man, the pressure, I mean, I felt like I was being shoved downward through my seat, like almost I could not, felt like I couldn't move. And it was just, I felt like it had this huge weight on me. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize it at first, what was happening. I just thought this person was standing next to me. And I didn't really realize until I knew I felt like I couldn't move. And then I just kind of fought it. And then eventually they backed off. And it took me, over a day to recover from that, and to feel kind of normal. And then I kind of realized, oh my gosh, I've never had that happen before. But then I've kind of, then it made me realize, okay, I've been curious about that. I've been curious about how physical mediumship works. And now I just got a little taste of it. So I think I have a new boundary with that as well, because it was way too intense. And I don't know if anybody listening out there, if you've had an experience like that, but man, it was strange, and it kind of caught me off guard. Has anything caught you really off guard in your, where you're like, holy, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. So let me ask you though, was that a guide or was that a person, a deceased person?
It was a deceased person.
Yeah, because they can tank you, man. And especially when you're crossing souls, being a psychopomp to assist souls to cross to the other side, they'll walk through you, and that doesn't feel very good either. So I figured out how to fix that the other day. I was really happy. One of my guides said, "Oh, all you got to do is do this." And so that worked really well. Yeah, actually, it was in the summer, maybe spring. It's a few months back. I was minding my own business, doing some channeling. And I thought my guide was there. And I thought I was speaking to a historical figure. And I listened to that figure. I listened to him. I got a fairly pretty dang good message. But the whole day I was like, really? Because it was back in like maybe 2018. That was when I was going through, which I think was 4D at that time. I would see every, what would you call it?
Every realm, or
no, I would see all the famous people would come through. Like if they died, I would see them. Yeah, it was like my light was on, I would see them. But I think that was 4D. And now it's not as much. Sometimes they come, but not so often. That was weird. I'll have to say. But then, because you don't know if is that really? But then when they start talking, it's definitely them. And then when you say something, I actually had somebody say, "I don't believe that." I'm like, cool. You can not believe if you want to. That's totally fine. Anyway, no, I had this historical figure, and it turned out he was a trickster. And so I make them prove who they are. Now just about everybody has to prove.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's a great point to anybody doing mediumship work. Anybody that's going to come in, and even for your own guides, you should be asking them, are you here for my highest and best purpose? Are you here for my, my journey, my best, decision making here? Yeah, you want them to, sometimes you do have to get them to prove who they are. Right. I mean, you almost have to grill them. And especially if it's someone you don't know, I think you do have to grill them. There's lots of spirits around here in Port Campbell, and lots of different energies. And so I'm getting, to where I can kind of tell, all right, they're from the town here. I know you're not for what I'm looking for right now. Maybe you kind of learn to identify that stuff. Well, we're going to take another quick station break here, pay some bills. We're here with Mary Beckman. Go to marybeckman.com and check out her website. And what a interesting conversation we're having. I'm loving it. I'm digging it. I hope everyone else is too. We're going to be right back here on the Paranormal Pete Show with special guest Mary Beckman at WLTK-DB.com. We'll see you in just a second.
A book of mystery, a book of one man's journey, a book of the afterlife, a book you must read. Ghost and Me by 5-time award-winning author Kevin Killen is a book of one man's journey in the search of the afterlife. Read of his chilling childhood experience, his investigative journeys, and his opinions of paranormal activity. Ghost and Me by Kevin Killen, an Ozark Mountain publication. Get your copy today online or wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show, episode 32. And I got special guest, Mary Beckman. And I'm going to do a couple of quick shout outs again in case you missed the beginning of the show. I've got Ghost Walks tours starting here in Port Gamble October 1st. And go to portgambleparanormal.com to check out the dates and get tickets there. And we've also got the Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up, which Mary has been a part of before. And so we're fingers crossed we're doing the in-person thing as safe as we can, and fingers crossed that we can continue to do that. And I've already been getting some speaker and class applications and vendor applications, and those can be found at portgamble.com/ghost conference. So I'll leave it to you, Mary. If you're interested, get an application in. And also, anybody else out there, if you want to be a speaker, we've got some good classes we're getting lined up so far. Some really interesting stuff. So,
And that's this year?
That's this year, November 5th through 7th.
Oh, no. So I didn't know that. Okay. I do want to do that. I want to do that. I love Port Gamble.
Okay. Well, go to portgamble.com/ghost conference. And it's going to be held in Port Gamble, and we'll be doing investigations at many different locations here in the town, plus a weekend full of speakers and a couple panel discussions, along with a lot of classes. So it's a good opportunity to come learn a lot of stuff, paranormal, metaphysical, that sort of thing. So there's both sides. We like to try and keep it balanced with scientific and a spiritual approach as well. So it's a great place to come meet people and get a lot of learning in all in one weekend. So really excited that that's coming up. And then just mention again, I'll be at the new paranormal conference in Centralia, Washington, October 15th. And you go to centraliadowntownfestivals.com/paranormal conference and to check that out as well. So I got some fun events, and we've also got our station exclusive gallery reading for the world with DeEtte Renee, Missy Hart, and myself as the readers. And it's going to be hosted by Nicole Strickland, host of the Afterlife Chronicles and co-host of Haunted Voices right here on Let's Talk Radio. So we got some great events coming up, and you can find all the information for that on the station website, WLTK-DB.com. And with that ticket, you'll get it starts at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and you get an afternoon of 3 readers. And I just, Mary, have you done gallery readings before?
Yes.
Aren't they fun?
It's wonderful. I love platform mediumship too, where you read the room.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's so fun.
The best.
Yeah, you never quite know who's going to come through for people. That's what I like about it is, I've had where, someone's father-in-law or mother-in-law comes through and the person in the audience says, well, I thought that person hated me. And I said, yeah, but really they didn't.
They don't now.
Yeah, they don't now. Yeah, exactly. So you never quite know who's going to show up. So they could be a lot of fun and really rewarding as well, as far as, if something's going to come through for you, it's usually pretty good and very meaningful. So, those are a lot of fun. I like doing those. So I want to talk a little bit about more of, ghosts and stuff, bring it, down to earth a little bit, I guess. Deceased people. So have you ever done any work with paranormal teams? Have you been a consultant? Kind of what's your experience there?
Yes, I've been a consultant to businesses and people's homes. And what I've found, because I do it remotely or I go there, kind of a mix, depends. But I can sure do it from my chair at home too. I do notice a lot what happens is people think they have, a big bad, they'll say demon in their house.
Right.
Or entity, and it tends to be they have an entity themselves.
Right. It's somebody for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes up. And, once we understand that entities are just like us and we release them, it's, I've come to understand in this last month, nothing is the same. This month taught me everything. And I used to pick entities all day long, pick them off, pick them off, pick them off. I'm like, I think it's just time to teach people how to do that,
Yeah.
And also you kind of got to understand that when you get the love for yourself up so high, there's nothing for them to attach to.
Right. There's nothing for them to grab. There's no thread on that sweater for them to grab and start pulling.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, and I found that too. And you can thank TV and Hollywood for everyone thinking they have demons.
Yes. And really, it's been almost 20 years. I've seen a couple, and that's it. Something call a demon.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been fortunate enough to either be naive or blind to it, or just haven't come across anything like that, and I just would assume not to.
Yeah.
But,
well, yeah, absolutely.
I usually try and explain to people, well, it's not a demon or something that's evil. It's just somebody who was an a-hole in life. And so they've carried that over. That personality has gone with them to the other side.
Yeah.
And they still act like that, because that's just been my experience. What about you? Do you feel like people just take their personality with them?
Yeah, and their emotions. It's not like they drop the emotions off at the door. They take it with, and those big emotions can cause an awful lot of ruckus. Just like it's causing a ruckus in us right now.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and they can make you feel those emotions. If you are awakened to be an empath, or maybe you're not even awakened to that, but you are, very empathic, you can feel those emotions too. And what do you think? So in my experience, this is kind of what I've seen, and maybe compare it to what you've seen as well. So the proverbial light, whatever that is, universal energy, it feels like when someone has gone through that, made the decision to go through that, and they come back, they're in a sense part of that light, and they feel a lot differently than somebody who has chosen not to, or maybe they don't realize to go through the light. But I call it the soul's car wash. Where it kind of, you wash off a lot of the stuff that held you down in life. If you were chronically ill, whatever symptoms and pains that came with that, it goes away. All the baggage, all the human baggage, living human baggage that we carry gets kind of washed off. What do you think?
Well, I think over the years I've learned a lot about that, and at this point I think I don't know.
That's a great answer.
The moment I think I know what's going on, somebody shows me something different.
Yeah.
And so what they told me, somebody told me, I forget what reader that was, but somebody told me the reason why you're so exhausted and you have some problems in your life here, there, Mary, is because you went and came back, went and came back, went and came back, went and came back, and you didn't have a lot of rest.
Well, yeah, you got to recharge, right?
That was the best description of how I feel, like you wouldn't believe. And I know what it is. I know that I got over there and I went, I just want to come back and help people. This is all I want to do. And then I came back. So for like 20 years, I've been saying, holy ones, I don't want to come back. Let me stay over there. I don't want to come back. This has been quite enough. You know what I mean? And so do I think it's a car wash? So what I do when I'm assisting a soul to cross over doing psychopomp work, I will say, leave your troubles on the ground. Find the crossing angels. Go home to your mother's voice. We do not tell you to go to the light. We tell you to go to observe. Okay. And then you're going to find your family. You're going to find somebody, and you're going to make decisions, because I don't know what is not real, and I don't know what is real. And what if the light is a big train? I don't know. So I'm very skeptical. So these days I don't say, go to the light, you're holding go. I don't say that anymore.
Yeah.
They make your own decision and observe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't do anything with sending someone, crossing someone over, anything like that. One, because, I just probably don't know enough about it and not confident with doing that. And plus, I don't necessarily feel that in my role, my place in things, that's not for me. And so I tend to stay away about it. But I've just wanted to bring that up to you just to get your opinion, because that's just something I've seen in readings for people and,
Yes.
and experienced, not even in readings, but just seeing it happen. And it's kind of like, once they kind of go through whatever this thing is, the light, whatever it is, it seems they can leave a lot of their things on the ground, I guess, to put it in your words,
So let me
and
ask you, what if they're hanging on somebody? What do you do with that? What if you're reading somebody that they have deceased all over them that are hanging there? What do you do with those deceased?
well, if it's something that's making them not comfortable, I try and give that person, some ways to try and, bring, a white light that's going to repel everything from within themselves. Don't start it don't start it outside yourself. Start it from within yourself, in your heart, and bring that out to repel them off. And then we work on, okay, we're going to set some ground rules. Y'all need to leave or don't make yourself known.
There you go. That's beautiful.
But usually, it's for me, it's like, it's that white light that nothing can get through. And it's you can create it, you can make it, you can use it, but it has to come from within you, and you really have to believe in it. You really have to put your heart into it, and to get those things to back off. And then I'll usually try and work with somebody on some grounding techniques to kind of clear, because normally when I've seen that happening, it's because the person's really empathic and they've been soaking up everybody else's BS.
Yeah.
And other people's people, like, oh, this person would probably hear me, I'm going to go harass them.
Exactly.
I know they can hear me and see me, even if it's in their dreams. So I'm going to go bother them and try and get my message across, or try and, whatever my purpose is.
Right.
So I usually will try and tell people, give them some ways to kind of clear that black goo off, that tends to build up, over time, if you don't realize you're soaking up everybody else's junk.
Right.
I think over this past year and a half, it'd be really interesting to, and I don't know if any of my clients have worked for like a big box store or somewhere that, was open, and they were, on the front lines, in a sense, of the pandemic, and how much crap those people soaked up. My God, I can't imagine everybody coming through stressed and PO'd about whatever, and anxiety. Those people are really soaking all that up. And, that just covered. It looks black to me when people are collecting everybody else's energy. I don't know about you, but it just looks like either a black cloud on them, or it's like just black goo just kind of hanging out on them. And that's not good for anybody. I mean, what do you see?
It depends on who they are, what they're doing. If it's an entity, they might look like a shape behind them, and I could just see that. And usually I'll just say, release and attend, which they all know what that means. That means come out and show yourself, and then I release them to the beautiful many, depending on what it is they're doing.
Sure.
There's more to that, but yeah, usually if it's like a garden variety, sad individual soul that can't find their way, usually I just say, can you lay your burdens down, and can you find the crossing angels, and then look at the rainbow bridge, look how beautiful it is, and see. And usually I'll see their pet. Depends on who they are, but I'll usually say, I see this and this and this, and would you like to do that? Because it's up to you if you do that to go back to your mother's voice usually. And then I'll say, but you have to make that decision where you're going to go.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't want to send anybody to the big recycler. I'm not into that. So whether the big recycler is happening anymore, I don't know. That's where all this stuff is. This is what keeps me up at night, Pete.
Hey, well, it's interesting. It's interesting stuff to think about and wonder about, because, we should never stop learning, right? And I've talked about this on the show many times, is, never stop learning. And, I just feel like well, you mentioned it already. Once you think you start to know how something works or whatever it is, you find out otherwise. And we just have to keep rolling with it.
Yes.
And living with it. So let's go back to the paranormal teams, or when you've done consults for people.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share any, I guess more of in what a traditional sense of what people think of as an experience with a ghost? Have you, like maybe growing up, or, when you, weren't as developed or awakened, what was a good ghost experience that you had that really kind of made you go, all right, it's real?
It took me a long time to pull my head out of my butt. You know what I mean? Because I think I was feeling this and I knew this, because I would have people, I would just know stuff, like every psychic growing up, they just know stuff, and people are like, and I just remember seeing an angel in my mom's house.
Okay.
And I didn't know till fairly recently who that actually was. It was Archangel Gabriel. And there he was. He was just like hanging there in my mom's house. And it must have been, 30 years ago, probably. And I was crying. And I said, Mom, can you see it? And she says, no, but I see you can see it. And that was hugely validating for me, because she believed that I could. Yeah. And I told her, I think I can do some healing. This is before I had anything, right?
Yeah.
So, and Reiki, I think, might have been my first one, or whatever that other thing, quantum touch. That was it. That was the thing I do too. Okay. And I think I could start to see them. I began to see all kinds of different things, and feel too. Mm-hmm. And then I would go to, people's houses or people's land, or I would remote view, which I kind of suck at remote viewing. I really don't do it very well. And I would love to learn how to do that more, because that is such a learned skill. You're not born with remote viewing. You have to learn that. But I can remote view Earth for some reason. And every once in a while I can see missing stuff. Not very well. Really need Marty for that. She's a great remote viewer. So what I've done is I've gone to buildings and dowsed, and I could, that person's right there. They died. You can see it. This happened. Blah, 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 blah. I would love to work in a team. I do sometimes work in a team to try to figure out people who have illnesses. And it's really great to do that, because as we all know, and that's why gallery and platform mediumship works so well, is if you have a group of humans and we're all focused on the same thing, all kinds of amazing stuff happens. Everybody's heart was working in unison, and crazy stuff can happen, But I think really my most exciting thing was when my husband was with me at a building one time, and we did the regular floors, right? We went, they have an upstairs, can't remember, but we went into this back area that nobody liked to go. We wouldn't go. And these people were getting pushed. They were getting shoved. They were getting, they had a really aggressive stinker. They had a few people that we assisted to cross on over. Because like Port Gamble, I mean, the last thing you want people to do is come in and take all the ghosts and have them go home. That's kind of not a thing you do. But I was asked to do this. And so we went in this back room. And I can't remember if we went up or down. It's been too long. But my husband could feel that feeling in his chest. And that's where I feel it. When I'm in the presence of something.
Okay.
That's what I feel. I feel a big weight right there.
Yeah.
And you could see that thing over there, and that one out the door.
Interesting.
We took that one. We took that one out. But when we came down, then the feeling goes away. And he said that he's known that he's been feeling that forever. And so we went recently to an antique store in Tacoma, and I said, why don't you go upstairs and see what it feels like up there? After I already came down and knew there was a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I like to do that. I love to go to houses. I mean, I've seen all kinds of stuff in people's houses.
Yeah.
For sure.
And yeah, and I'd say probably at least in my experience, the majority of the time, it's entities that are there with the people that are living in the house. And sometimes it's things that were there before, but a lot of times it's their people trying to be known, or get them to pay attention or to notice. They're trying to reach out to them. I mean, have you kind of found that too, or is it kind of I mean, it's a good mix, of things that are attached to the location versus things that are attached to the people, or guides that are coming, or spirits that are coming to try and communicate with the people. I mean, I just found it seems like more often than not, it's spirits or entities that are there for the people who are wanting the investigation because they think something's in their house.
Usually. Yeah.
It
is usually.
Yeah, because we've all got stuff. Some people ask, well, is this haunted because it's old? I said, well, everywhere is haunted.
Yeah.
Everywhere is haunted because guess what? We're haunted. Us people, we're haunted. So we have hauntings, and so I mean, what do you think? I mean, I think it's everywhere, right?
It is. I remember that's what we did 4 years ago when we bought our house, is that I made sure I asked when I came in the house, anybody in here? Is all clear? Feeling good? And I made sure I kind of checked it out. And I told my husband, no problem, nobody in there. And then after we'd been there for not very long, maybe a couple months, he was not quite ready to get in bed, but he was in the bathroom. And I was lying in bed, and I looked over to my right, and there was a little girl standing there. And we helped her to go home. But sometimes, like, I think probably one really profoundly haunted place that I went to, I just remember now, is the place where there was a school down by water. I want to call it Martha Washington. Do you know what I'm talking about? Martha Washington
University?
No, it was a place where I want to say pregnant women went, but I'm not sure. But there was a lot going on. There was a lot of Native American stuff. There was some really bad, I'd say, satanic stuff. And in all the area where we walked through, I was just part of a group. I was just supposed to be part of a group, which I was trying to be cool, just seeing what I was seeing, keeping it to myself. I was with my friend Lynn Sutherland Olson, who's a really talented medium. So we would go off to ourselves. We go, you see that over there? You see that? And this young woman in spirit came up to me and asked me to help her.
Oh wow! She knew you could see her.
Yeah. And I said something to the person that was leading that group, and that I don't remember what it was, but it was like, we're not going to do that right now, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we are. Yeah. Somebody's going to ask me to help. We're going to help.
Yeah.
And then I went over to that other side that was more the satanic stuff. And my guide actually stood right in front of me, wouldn't even let me pass. And he was like, not for you over there. So they you got to you got to take your friends with you when you go somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and I never go somewhere by yourself physically by yourself. Always have another person with you and your spiritual friends as well. But
yes,
yeah, it never go somewhere on your own. I've done that before and realized as soon as I got there, oh boy, what did I get myself into?
Right.
And then realize, okay, that's never happening again.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But my friend that I was talking about, my friend Melanie, that takes those photos, she can show what's going on right there. She can take photos of
Wow.
you, and the beings are plastered all over you. So I cannot tell you how fabulous that is. That's somebody you could have on your show. Maybe she's getting ready to do a couple shows.
Awesome.
Just now starting to show her photography out a little bit. She has this um, Facebook page called Interdimension. So you can see all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all want to know who's with us. We all want to see who's with us and know it, because I know for myself, I don't even know. I know I have a bunch of guides. I don't even know them all yet. I just know. There's a couple to 2 to 4 that I can recognize. Um, but beyond that, I know there's a lot more. I just haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
I haven't gone over that hill yet.
Mm-hmm.
To see who they are and meet them, but it may not be the right time. And I'll put this out to the audience listening and watching. Mary, earlier you said when you feel stuff, you feel it right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put it out there. Where do people listening and watching out there, when something is around or you feel like something's around, where do you feel it? For me, it's kind of a similar area. It's more my solar plexus is where I really feel it. I know somebody who her head gets real itchy when something's around, and if you see her start to scratch, oh, is there something around? Yes. Or you get the spider web feeling. For anybody listening out there, how do you know you've recognized this feeling you get when something seems to be around? So go ahead and comment that wherever you're watching from, and we'll see that. Be interesting to see what people say, because and I think the majority of people probably in that same area as you, same area as me, just kind of right in here. We're built to feel things we can't really see physically. And I also wanted to ask as well, going back to the codes, and I thought of this earlier. um, and hearing about your husband's band and stuff kind of made me even think about it more. Music's like such an important part of human life, and it connects us. And I think it connects us beyond this living realm as well. Have you experienced, like, with the light codes and the symbols, have you experienced any of that through music or sound, or do you use music or sound in some of the work that you do?
I listen to different things on YouTube all the time for clearing of myself.
Okay.
So if I had a person that was in front of me, I might could do that, but I haven't for a while. So generally a reading with me is a little journey.
Okay.
And so if you want to feel it, I can do it with you very quickly. And I can do that abundance code if you want to. But what it looks like is, what it feels like is, it's an immersive experience. So when people come up out of it, they got to come back to their body and wake up a little bit, and they often feel a little dizzy because you're so focused. And it's a sound, it's a vision, and it's being around with all the guides that are touching you and lifting you. So I do what is that called when you lift up off the ground? It's called
A levitation.
Yeah. So you feel levitation with me. That's one of the things I've been doing for a while.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I'll put this out there. If you want a private reading with Mary, go to marybeckman.com and go through her website, check out the upcoming classes that she has, and you can book private readings with her. And that's MaryBeckman.com. So it's Mary with an I. And so if you're interested in getting this, getting some guidance and some good answers and self-help as well, I think that's awesome that you're trying to give people things that they can do themselves,
Yes.
to help them out. So if you're looking for that sort of experience, look up Mary's website and get a private reading with her. it just sounds interesting. And gosh, we're just about out of time. What a fun conversation. Thank you.
It was really fun.
This has been really cool. And it's given me a lot to think about, and I hope the audience out there, it's given you a lot to think about, or maybe some things that you recognize. Oh, maybe that's what that was, that sort of thing. And so I hope it helps somebody out there in some way. And is there anything you want to say? Is obviously we want people to go get your book, The Art of Your Energy. I think I'm going to be picking up a copy of that because I want to learn about these codes. I want to learn about that, and I think at least look more into that and try and see if that's for me.
What I'd like to leave everybody with is grounding isn't as easy as it used to be. And if you can do your level best to get into the earth in some way, which means go outside, stand on the ground, lie down if you can, or else visualize that you get underground somehow. So over the last probably 6 months, my guides have been giving me more levels and more levels of grounding, and the humans just got to get down and in.
Thanks, Monique, for that. That's a great piece of advice. Standing in the grass with bare feet,
Yeah,
laying on the beach in the sand, not on a towel.
and
all great.
Clear yourself between clients, and clear yourself between. If you have to go to Walmart, God forbid, you clear yourself afterwards, right? And
yeah, that is.
Constantly.
Yeah, I use that as an example. If I'm talking to somebody about being an empath, I said, do you have a time limit in Walmart before you start seeing red?
That happened to me this year. I thought I came back out of it and I went, I can't, I've been walking around in a haze for 15 minutes. I can't get out of the store. And I was just bombarded with
any big box store, but especially one that has groceries. And I figured out that, I've got about a 40-minute window if I'm going to go shopping before I start seeing red, and just got to get out of there because I feel, and why I say specifically a big store that sells groceries is everyone's there after work and they're in a hurry and they're thinking about their work day and they're thinking about what they got to do tomorrow and at the end of the week, and they're stressed and they're pissed off at so-and-so, and they're aggressively going around the store. And then I kind of notice myself doing that too. And, but that's a great example of why you should ground yourself. And that's something like, I do agree with you that it is something that's harder to do. I think as time goes on, so we got to find our ways, it sounds cliche, whatever, go hug a tree.
Yeah.
Just go hug or lean against a tree for a while and just feel it. It really does help you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
There's some old trees here in Port Gamble, and they just feel really great. And so I encourage, follow Mary's advice, try and ground whatever you can do to be a part of the earth and get into the earth and help cleanse yourself. And we all need to do that and be mindful of that. So that's a wonderful piece of advice, and thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I've just had so much fun. I had somebody, I think it was Monique, mentioned a great show. Thanks for listening. And so next week, I've got Ankasha Menti coming on next Tuesday for episode 33. And then I've got Ron Moorhead coming on September 7th. Really excited about that, and just talking Bigfoot. I love talking about Bigfoot, and I hope I can share my experience with him and see what he thinks that happened here in Port Gamble. And then I've got author Alan Wright coming on September 14th, and then I'll be announcing more guests as I get them booked. And so if you're interested in being a guest on the show, you can go to WLTK-DB.com and go to my show, the tab for my show, and there's a form there if you're interested in being a guest on the show. And I got to say, this is one of the most interesting and cool conversations I've had on the show so far. So I thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime, and definitely going to see if Marty will come on the show.
Oh,
I
she's having a great time in Florida.
well, hopefully she's being safe down there.
she's
Um,
she's doing good, and I'd love to talk to you on the phone, and I'll give you those codes if you call me, okay? And hopefully I can see you in November.
oh, excellent. All right. Well, I look forward to that. And every show I leave with a toast that the past is history, the future is a mystery, but today's a gift because it's the present. And just a reminder to people to take time each day just to take stock in what you have right around you. Be there. Forget yesterday. Forget tomorrow. Just think about what you got right now. And I say also, hug everyone you're with and hug everyone else virtually for a little bit longer. And then hopefully things go well for you and that everybody stays well and healthy. And gosh, what a fun episode 32 here with Mary Beckman on the Paranormal Pete Show. Go to marybeckman.com to learn more about what she does for in all of her work and healings and everything. And we'll see you next week here on Let's Talk Radio, WLTK-DB.com for the Paranormal Pete Show. And I'm your host, Peter Orbea. Be well, everyone.